Mekelle, the capital of the Tigray region in northern Ethiopia. For 2 years, this city was gripped by a civil war which has seen an estimated 600,000 killed and millions more displaced. But a peace deal signed in November between the Tigrayan People's Liberation Front and Ethiopia's federal government means signs of normality are beginning to return. During the war, Mekelle was under siege and many people starved. Now, with the siege broken, there are more products on the shelves. Power and internet connections have been restored, and on the streets, there is a new sense of optimism.
تلوتي يشتغل تهذب بعلو السلام بوال معلم منفس صبوا منفس يلله
ما تبزح نجار سقني يسيو حازل له نجارات متعم صبوعي كنا نرى بتعمي أخبارنا يرخل النجار ما لتواتي خي كتجازي تحسوية نجارات بيجازي أخي ترجع لمن لسي لوزح نيرو ما تبتعمي خبارات نيرو حازقن يا صبوعي نياخد النجار سدحنا يو عم سلاي.
But no peace deal can erase the war's devastating impact. Outside of the city, this camp is home to around 50,000 internally displaced people, many of them children. They are fearful of returning home because they believe their lands might still be occupied by militia from neighboring Amhara region or the Eritrean army, both of which fought alongside the Ethiopian government during the conflict. Hagazi and his wife, Mebrat, fled their home in the west of Tigray when government and militia troops attacked their town over 2 years ago.
لذي حنا طفو سدراتاتنا نطيق انا بعد غاديس هاي همنا هذا حياه سلازي فلت طعمي تحقيسه مزحت هزه تግራይስ ها خفات اموت ابخيات انا بعديس فرق نفسيه شاقيله زحدر لخو قطر ليتله ويها ميل خطخوني ويا من تايتن اخلاو الخيه ان الحدر لخص من برهان صغرنا ولا تخا حاوخا أنا هم إنه يتفلت الناس اللي أسألتهم بس تحاورنا حريف.
Their story is a familiar one. Throughout the war, I traveled across Tigray and the neighboring regions. Everywhere I went, I saw evidence of atrocities carried out by both sides. Children like Samir, forever scarred by the bomb which hit his home. And Mullah, who watched as his brother and 2 nephews were shot in front of him. But one of the war's darkest legacies is the systemic use of rape as a weapon, a war crime under the Geneva Convention. It's a story I heard time and again from people like Sister Mulu, who runs a clinic for survivors of sexual violence. When I visited her 2 years ago, the brutality suffered by her patients was already taking its toll.
It's very painful service to us. How can I clarify it?
Now, 2 months after the peace deal was signed, medical supplies remain scarce and victims are still coming forward.
For the past months, we have more than 2,000 survivors are treated in our one-stop center in Eider Comprehensive Specialized Hospital. These are the tips of the iceberg. Most of our survivors, they can't get the opportunity to treat and get medical support because there is no services in the peripheries. Most of the hospitals and health centers are disorganized and stolen by those troops. They are not functional still.
A patient comes to visit Sister Mulu. She says when the war started, troops from Amhara burnt her home and she fled with her elderly mother to a friend's house. A few months later, Eritrean troops arrived at the door. Although the guns and bombs have been silenced, this woman, like so many others, is still left with physical and mental scars of the war. The survivors who come here receive treatment and counseling sessions, but there is one thing Sister Mulu can't provide: justice.
The assailants get enough justice. We are treating our survivors, our Tigrayan people are treating by this situation. I hope after a time, justice are for our survivors.
Here in Tigray, the peace is being observed. In the past days, the TPLF have begun handing over their weapons to the government, and troops from Eritrea and Amhara have been seen leaving. Elsewhere in the country, however, ethnic fighting continues. Children left orphaned by the conflict can only hope that Ethiopia's cycle of ethnic violence might one day be broken for good. The war has already changed the direction of their lives forever, along with millions of others in the region. It will fall to their generation to ensure that peace in this part of the world is lasting.